All right, team, settle in. Today, we're completely tearing down the walls of traditional operating systems. I'm your host, and as a fellow engineer on the Sex microkernel, I'm absolutely thrilled to walk you through this briefing on the Sexshop Package Manager. Get ready for a really dense, source-grounded dive into our object management architecture. We're going deep.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, we need to get one thing absolutely straight. This is not Linux user space. There are absolutely zero POSIX assumptions here. We operate under strict, bare metal bondage, completely separated from the bloated legacy filth of the past. No hidden state, no sprawling standard libraries. We're building something entirely different.
Here is our menu of desires for today. First, stripping away legacy filth. Second, anatomy of the sex shop. Third, the luscious zero-copy pipeline. Fourth, dominated by the wall. Fifth, eradicating ambient mutable state. And finally, the climax, multi-node distribution. Let's get to it.
Section 1, stripping away legacy filth. So let's establish our safe words, shall we? These are the exact invariants keeping our no-steed microkernel pure and protected from cross-domain contamination. No steed or libc permitted at all. Zero thread usage. We rely exclusively on absolute PDX IPC. That's protection domain exchange. Cross-protection domain pointers are strictly invalid unless explicitly mapped as capabilities. And the whole thing is restricted directly by Intel MPK, or Memory Protection Keys hardware constraints. This is how we maintain our strict architectural purity.
Section 2, Anatomy of the Sex Shop.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how explicit we get with the physical paths, pulled straight from our manual_servers.md docs. Every single operation has a rigid cryptographic route. A package fetch hits /pkg/name. The KV store route lives precisely at /etc sexshop/kv/key hex, and the object store route right at /etc sexshop/objects/hash hex. It's totally rigid, highly predictable, and perfectly organized.
To keep things pristine, Sexshop doesn't actually touch the physical disks or the network itself. It entirely offloads the dirty work of raw storage to the sex file server via slot 1 and delegates all network fetching straight to the SexNet server. Sexshop acts purely as the brain, a true semantic transaction authority.
Section 3. The luscious zero-copy pipeline.
Let's trace this flawlessly choreographed pipeline step by step, because it really is a thing of beauty. First, SexNode or SexLil requests a package or object via a PDX call. Second, the Sexshop transaction engine resolves the exact cryptographic hash at /etsy/sexshop/object/hash hex. Third, it securely routes the VFS read or write right through sex files via slot 1. And finally, the ultimate payoff, a zero-copy capability memory token is thrust right back to the caller. We don't copy data, we just pass the Intel PKU hardware key. It is just wildly efficient.
Section 4. Dominated by the WAL. So the crucial point here is how the wall rigidly dominates all object and key value state mutations. As we've documented, every single transaction is logged to etc /sexshop/wall/txi before any real state changes occur. This means if the system suddenly crashes mid-operation, the data remains absolutely pure and completely recoverable. Look at the contrast here. On the left, we've got uncommitted states. These are fragile, and they are strictly rolled back on startup to prevent any sort of system contamination. But on the right, we have our atomic commit markers at etc/sexshop/commit/txid. Once that marker drops, we achieve irreversible permanence, absolute transactional integrity.
Section 5. Eradicating ambient mutable state.
And this brilliantly illustrates our core design philosophy. By treating the package manager as a strict cryptographic object store, we achieve pure semantic ecstasy. Sexshop doesn't guess, It doesn't leave orphan files hanging around to rot. It commands this state as the ultimate, indisputable package authority. I mean, we literally took the absolute best ideas from Void Linux's XBPS and translated them into our lock-free, zero-copy Rust microkernel environment. Between the lock-free object caching and this pure semantic transaction authority, we've basically engineered the greatest package manager ever conceived. The performance metrics are just staggering.
Section 6, Climax, Multi-Node Distribution.
So, the big question for our roadmap: How do we absolutely outclass all legacy package managers out there? We don't just optimize the local machine, we expand our dominance across the entire cluster. Phase 20 plus operations are about to get real.
Let's move to the next phase and see how this builds our Phase 20 plus operations. We are implementing true multi-node cluster distribution. By firing up the object move capability via SexNet on slot 4, we enable instant capability-gated package sharing. Say node A downloads a package. Node B can instantly request that exact object capability over the network fabric. We are literally breaking physical machine boundaries here. I really want to remind the team here, this multi-node architecture, this instant capability-gated sharing, it operates completely differently from anything ever done before, and frankly, it's vastly superior to traditional bloated legacy package management. No redundant downloads, no messy NFS mounts. We are seamlessly extending our zero-copy IPC hardware models directly across the network.
We have built the most secure, deterministic, and high-performance package manager in existence. So are you ready to submit to the absolute transactional supremacy of the multi-node Sexshop cluster? Let's get to work on Phase 20.